Hello and welcome to the Jim, Burns and Dave podcast.
Hello.
Oh, that was a big game show, that wasn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, we'll keep it. We'll keep it.
Yeah,
I'm your host, Stephen W. Burns, and I'm joined, as you probably, thought, by Dave and Jim.
Yeah.
Change the order. Change it up. Spice of life.
Well,
it's
good. It's good. No, I don't mind that.
Mate, you're going to be in brackets in the week.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be out.
I'm not going in parentheses, mate.
Nah, mate, I wouldn't have thought
As soon
so.
as that happens, I'm off. That's it. I'm done.
So listen, what have you boys been up to?
I've been playing Mario Kart.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Listen, right? Been playing lots of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Really bad at it.
Yeah.
And I live with someone who's really good at it, so it's particularly annoying. But it's great. Mario Kart on the old Switch. It's fucking Mario Kart, and it's literally the same Mario Kart they released fucking decades ago for the Wii U. So
Decades ago.
yeah, decades ago. Decades in video game terms, right? Video game time runs at like every 6 months is about 40 years.
Well, true.
So
Just ask more.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. It's got all the DLC they had in the original. They've revamped the battle mode, so it's not shit anymore. It runs nicer, looks better, is the definitive version of Mario Kart 8. So
there
when
you
people
go.
say, why have they released Mario Kart 8 again? It's because, well, nobody owned the fucking system the original was on. And this one's better.
You're not a fan of Mario Kart, though, are you, Burns?
No, I've never really been a fan of it. Mainly because I thought it was shite. But then I remember when we were at Video Gamer Gym, we had a Mario Kart tournament, and I won it. Much to the consternation of people who play the games a lot.
Yeah, you won it. And you hate it, and you never play it.
That's the best way to do it.
It's the best victory.
That's the best way to do
Oh,
it.
you must have been fucking insufferable that day.
I won all
I
those
mean,
things.
as opposed to what? But
He's
yeah.
always fucking insufferable. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was that the same one where you were sitting on the couch with your fucking collar up, and eventually you went, "I'm sulking."
I mean, there were a few of those.
You were still,
which
you were just having a strop through the whole thing, like, "I'm sulking."
Yeah, I don't know what I was annoyed about.
Burns is annoyed now.
It could have been almost anything, which we'll come back to one of the questions relating to that later on. But people laughed, they scoffed when Nintendo announced that Mario Kart 8 was coming to Switch. Oh, it's got no games. It's like the fucking Wilston Raider, but it's done gangbusters, and I think it's one of those titles that remember when the Switch advertising came out, and it was like people sitting around in airports and at bars or whatever, playing it, and everyone went right zoning. Yeah, it's classic, and they're like, shit, it's actually happening. They've done it.
The Mario Kart's a perfect game for that, though, isn't
and that's
it?
exactly it. They've really nailed that. So listen. There are two entities you do not ever bet against. One is Nintendo. B, Hulk Hogan. Okay, Hulk Hogan will always win. Hulk Hogan's not a great dude. That's
I was
going to
say, let's be clear here.
Hulk Hogan's not.
We're not advocates.
They're not advocating Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Known bad man Hulk Hogan.
Don't fuck. Yeah,
but you can't bet against him.
Exactly, because somehow
Peter
Thiel will run in and just back him or something like that.
I would swap. I mean, for perhaps a more palatable version of that, I would swap Hogan out for Schwarzenegger because you can't bet against him.
Never bet against Arnie.
Yeah,
ever.
Exactly.
He's just too
See
smart.
who did that cheeky little photo bomb this week?
No.
With a load of Thai people, I think, just in front of the Eiffel Tower, and he just scoots past on a bike and is like, yo!
Awesome.
It's
just the greatest.
I love Arnie. Recently, he went to Edinburgh, and there was a new...
Did you buy it?
And he's got this thing where he cycles a lot, and he's always like, listen, there's no excuse for not exercising. I cycle for 3 hours a day. And it's like, Arnie, most people don't have time to do that. But anyway.
Most people got jobs and that. Yeah. I know you've got a job, but
I know this is your job, just sort of looking great, but still. But he takes his bike places. He does a lot of tours around the world and whatever. So he was in Edinburgh for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. I was probably trying the fucking tea or whatever. But whatever the fuck it is they do in Edinburgh. But he's talking to some tourists on his bike, and then he cycled away. Bye. He's going down the wrong side of the road on Princess Street.
Mate, he can go down whatever side of the road he wants.
And people were just sort of shouting after him, Arnold! Well, again, whatever they do in Edinburgh.
Imagine this.
That's the wrong side of the road. Excuse me.
So the cops pull up, and they're like, who's this guy? And he turns around and is like, shit, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
Please continue, sir.
Exactly. Do you mind if we just get a photo of you breaking the law?
If a tram hit Arnie, it's not, I mean, it's the tram that's fucked, right? So
yeah, Nintendo have done a great job, but I don't own a Switch, but you own one, Jim, and had a little go in it, a little shot on it.
It's well good, isn't it?
And yeah, I'm impressed by the hardware, and it's actually started to change a little bit of my thinking about.
Hang on, this is new for you. Carry on.
I know. Just about what I really want from home consoles and everything like that. So the other day, I'm in the games room. I'm watching the television, right? I'm watching some Champions League football, and it's hitting a little bit of a lull.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? If there was PES on Switch, I could it could be here, and then the real football could be there. And and this is the height of laziness. I wouldn't have to change a channel. I wouldn't have to press the source button, and then I wouldn't miss something if I just if my game on PES just overshot a little bit, and then you could keep an eye on it. Basically, it's like a baby monitor for like football games.
It's had that sort of effect on me as well, because the great thing about it is because it's a tablet essentially. It works like a tablet, right? It's always on. It's it doesn't have this long shutdown phase and a long boot up phase, right? Which makes such a difference. So now when I play a game on the PS4, like I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect, Andromeda mainly for work stuff, and it sounds so fucking. It sounds like such a. It's like when you move to London and like 6 months in, all of a sudden waiting 3 minutes for a train is a massive ball ache.
No, the other day I went onto the Underground and said 3 minutes, and I literally nearly had a tantrum. Like proper, like feet stamping, like watch pointing, like I'm managing Man United, like arms flailing, everyone else doing the same thing.
I went up to Scotland a couple of months back, and when I got off the train, got off the plane at Aberdeen, I had to get a train down to Montrose, and I had to wait 20 minutes for a train.
Unbelievable.
And I was just like, how do people live like this? I was like, so what? I was totally like wandering around the train station, just like, so what do I do? I
just planned, don't they?
I just hang around until the train arrives. Like this is there's no like it's like, have you got Arkanoid or something while I wait? No, nothing. Like train stations need to license that from Namco, just get Arkanoid. Anyway, so like but yeah, just playing Mass Effect, playing anything on the PS4, and just the knowledge that I can, and there's a reflex now to sort of be like, all right, I'll turn this off and go to bed. And when you're playing Zelda on the Switch, I mean, that process takes a nanosecond, and you just go to fucking bed. On the PS4, it's like, shut it down, make sure I save.
This is mega first world problems.
It's not problems. It's more just like, this machine is way more convenient and suitable for my lifestyle than this machine now.
If they get PES on Switch, that's it, bar. That's it. That'd be it for me.
That's it.
I don't play.
Surely someone's making a football game.
You will have to do what I did and spend £400 to play one game.
That'll be me. That's honestly, mate. That's
but
fine.
Also the portability factor, just the fact that like
get on a plane.
Yeah,
I'm still playing PES.
Yeah, like for the last two Christmases,
Dreamland.
last two trips up north, I've taken. If I'm going for more than a week, I take the PlayStation because like in the wee hours, there's fuck all to do. I don't need to do that.
Go for a walk, Jim.
Don't need to do that. Just take the fucking
come on,
Switch.
There's nothing up there, is there? There's
walking around Hartlepool, mate.
Yeah, mate. First, it's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as they hear that I'm not like from that postcode, you get stabbed.
Exactly.
Now, like, go back to your own postcode. Hang on.
Well, listen, Dave. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I am hungover because I went and watched the football, having given blood and drank a lot of beers, which apparently is not the best thing to do.
It's frowned upon. It's in the rules.
It's literally in the book they give you, but
oh really?
Yeah.
It's quite literally in the instruction manual. RTFM,
actual
baby.
black and white. But that was the Champions League semi-final, which is boss.
Yeah.
What else have I been doing? I don't really know. Not much else, really.
Oh, good,
Watching
Dave.
the old football.
What a very entertaining podcast it's turned out to be.
Yeah.
Dave fucking 1 foot in the grave, sitting around like, ugh. Come on, you must have done something.
Talking about fucking rugby last week.
Oh my goodness, like, no, we're not doing any rugby chat because rugby's paying us. I'll tell you what, I started watching a new TV show. Yeah. It's called Yes Minister.
Yeah.
And, it's obviously fucking brilliant. And it's funny in a way that, like, literally it could only have been made in that time by those people, starring those people, essentially.
You were just, before we started recording, you were going on about how it's the greatest TV show ever made because everyone in it's in a three-piece suit.
Unbelievable. Sir Humphrey, played by Sir Nigel Hawthorne, was saying before that essentially his character was now so inextricable from the man himself that they had to give him a knighthood.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is probably not the real reason.
Just to keep reality in sync with itself.
Like, sorry, Mr. Hawthorne. I wouldn't have thought so. Sir Nige. But yeah, he's got some incredible pyjama, like silk, bedwear, shall we say, in one of the episodes where he's been disturbed. Wonderful, great, and really funny. There are some jokes in there which definitely wouldn't fly these days. And you're like, but then I suppose that's like watching anything from the 70s and 80s. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's all on Netflix, so go and...
So one gets the impression that you watch telly as in the same way that you would thumb through a catalogue. So I wouldn't mind those pyjamas. I'll take a note of that.
They are, honestly, I nearly screenshot it. But I didn't because I thought, it's late. And
yeah.
But yeah, so there's been one thing I do want to talk about that's not Yes Minister, is, or how Nintendo have proven me wrong, bastards, is... So apparently Neil Blomkamp's Aliens 5, whatever, is not going to happen, according to Sir Ridley Scott, the boy.
He said it wasn't that far along, didn't he?
Yeah, he said it was just, Blomkamp said it was a few sketches, and then people got excited, and Fox went, oh, okay, that's good. The reason I'm happy that that's not going to happen is because I'm fairly sure that there was some chat about it just, like, ignoring Alien 3. And I can't go for that. One of the best things that ever happened to cinema was James Cameron made this story about this kind of family thrown together in Aliens, and then most of that family was fucking killed spectacularly and terribly off screen at the start of the next one. Now, I'm not sure if you know about people dying, but in reality, people don't just, they don't get a long death scene usually. You just get a phone call and it's like, they're dead. You're like, oh. You don't then go, well, this is... Actually, you do say there's bollocks. No, shit, the people love Aliens, right? But what I love about it is Alien 3 represents hell. Like, come on. Like, she's fucked. She wants to die, basically, and then she sacrifices herself to get herself out, blah, 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 blah. Absolution, redemption, whatever. And although the movie's a load of old piss in a lot of places for various reasons, that's what I love about it, is that there is no hope anymore. Like, her child drowns in its fucking cryotube, and her lover, partner, husband, or whatever, gets impaled by the safety support above him. I mean, there's nowhere to go from
Spoilers.
there. That's what the movie starts with.
Yeah.
No wonder it didn't go down very well with some of the audience.
Yeah, and then you have to spend the rest of your fucking day with Paul McGann.
I'm watching CGI Mad Dogs.
Charles Dance, and then you meet Charles Dance. You're like, look, things are looking up. And then he gets sized because of you. It's not great, is it? It's been a hard paper round, as they would say. But yeah, the Blomkamp thing. Now, I don't hate Neil Blomkamp's work. I know that he kind of had an amazing debut.
District 9's brilliant.
And then the other movies weren't quite as good. It's a similar trajectory, but less pronounced than what's his name, Richard Thingy, who directed Donnie Darko, then did Southland Tales and all that. And now everyone just hates him. But yeah, I just think that even though Alien 3 is really, really, really flawed, atmosphere, like in terms of its atmosphere and what it represents in a trilogy, it's perfect. It's perfect because the whole thing is it's a cycle. She's never going to get away from that thing. Once you're exposed to it, you can't get away from it. Either it's in you or it kills you, or you kill yourself killing it. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the matter. So
she never should have got on that fucking transport. She should have just stayed in a wee apartment with her cat. And it would have been fine.
Well, yeah, apart from the PTSD, which probably would have, Yeah. But I can understand why people...
Yeah, but, she was a young woman. She could have fucking, she could have started again.
She was like 80, wasn't she?
Yeah, but she wasn't... Yeah, but, in sort of... chronologically, she was 80, but,
Yeah.
She wasn't that old physically. She
No.
could have started again. She had a cat.
Well, but she couldn't. That's one of the main plot points, is that she loses her license, and so essentially they blackmail her into doing it.
Oh, speaking of starting again, I just started playing Alien Isolation again.
Oh my goodness! Listen. I love Alien Isolation. Right? If anyone's got a problem with that game, you can get fucking dead. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Including all the American games press. Fucking Woodward and Bernstein's over there. Fuck them all.
Why? What were they moaning about?
Oh, it's got no guns in it.
It's got fucking suspension, knobheads. There's loads of gays with guns in them.
No, I mean, look, it does have guns in it.
There was a big thing at the time where, like, there was a real divide where, the European press was like, this is fucking brilliant, and the American press was, this is boring. And it was just like, why? You know, you spend a lot of time being dismayed when people decide to profile each other based on which fucking continent they were born on, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really, really disappointing to see when Americans or British people or anyone else falls in line with the stereotype.
Yeah, I mean, and the British have been falling in line a lot recently,
we're the biggest cunts on earth right now, but...
I don't know. House Republicans may have a slight edge, but we're getting there.
Really going for
it. If we're not first, we're a close second.
Tied first.
But like, that was disappointing. That was really disappointing because it's like, don't.
I got some of the criticisms. Like, I did think it was a bit too long. Now,
all games are too long, though, aren't they?
I'm not sure. Like, someone said to me, well, they were playing it in chunks essentially, and.
Playing it in trunks.
Well, and that fundamentally altered their thinking of it, because they would just go home after work or whatever and, you know, play a couple of hours and it was great. Whereas if you're playing it for review, that does kind of change things, especially if there's a deadline and it's a long game. You start to think to yourself, not that I want it to be over, but if it starts repeating the same things and you're playing that game in a short space of time, then you will start to tire of it, obviously. So, but I really love that game. I remember seeing it at its reveal over at CA and just being, fucking yes, this is the Alien game everyone wanted.
I'm quite enjoying it not being open world, having played a lot of open world games recently where it's like, I can only go in this direction.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's a really intelligent game. The stuff that, just things that generally you wouldn't consider if they weren't there. So the saving, like you're still vulnerable when you're saving the game. That's one of the best things about it.
That is great, yeah.
Because it forces you to think about not just getting to the point and pressing a button and then you're set. Now, I'm sure that actually, in part, that is probably down to maybe they don't want you to get caught in a loop where the alien could be behind you. So when you respawn or you load your save, it's there and you just die and you can't get out of it. So there's probably a technical reason for it. But at the same time, I love it. I think it's brilliant. And it, you know, when they removed the alien, you played it through before, Dave, right?
Yeah.
You know, the alien kind of just goes for a little while in the middle. And stuff like you can run at the start. The alien has a very definitive entrance when it comes down. When you go, into
it's one of the best reveals coming down from the ceiling.
But apparently, if you are on like hard and are running around, it will appear before that. Because you're making too much noise. So yeah, it's just a very smart game made by very smart people. I think they're all great. Give me Alien Isolation 2. Set in the bit after Hadley's Hope goes to hell as Newt. So after all the colonists get fucked, but before the Marines arrive, how long do they say? She's like,
is it 2 weeks or something?
She spent 2 weeks with no. Why don't you just put her in charge? Well, yeah, that's not what I want. And then right at the very end, this is how the game should end. Right at the very fucking end, yeah. The Marines kill their first fucking alien, or you do it. The player just picks up a gun and just blows. Glorious. And then, you know, the Marines arrive. So
you just flash forward to the death scene right before Alien 3.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Alien 3.
Steve Burns presents Alien Isolation.
We should crowdfund this.
You know what? It's such a nasty fucking film. I mean, in the making
It's a load of shit, mate. I don't know why you like it.
It's got a great atmosphere to it. It's good. And also, as they were saying in the making of, how the fuck did Hollywood make that movie? So she crash lands. Everything looks like Bosch. She crash lands into a fucking prison planet filled with rapists. You're like,
it's pretty bold, isn't it?
You're like, there's a big bold choice there for the thing. But yeah, Alien 3, fantastic. Don't fuck around. Now, also, Jim. We need to talk about the Clash, mate. You tweeted the other day, and you're wearing a Clash t-shirt. You've reminded me. Saying the Clash, right? Fucking bag of shit. But somehow they're one of the best bands. How? Explain yourself.
Explain it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Because I think they are a bag of shit, but then they've got loads of tunes. So how does that work?
Well, they're one of my favorite bands and one of the greatest bands, the greatest British bands that ever existed. And they were obviously they came in with the punk movement, but they seemed
punk IPA?
They seemed like one of the few mainstream punk bands that were actually that actually lived those ideals. And because you fucking this is what it disdains me that Johnny Rotten still walks the earth talking a load of
selling
shit
butter, mate. What are you on about? He's got bills to pay.
Talks a load of shit about Donald Trump and that. And I just think, fucking hell, if Strummer was around, there would be some kind of clapback to this. Like, he was always the better man. But no, I think they were a very important band. But a lot of it quietly, like they influenced a lot of fucking acts that came after them. But they're not really known. It's not like fucking like everyone knows that with Oasis it is fucking like it's the Beatles and the Stone Roses, isn't it? Like everyone you can trace like a direct path from some bands to the next ones, and you can go from like the mod movement to the Jam and whatever. But like the Clash just sort of seeded a lot of stuff, you know. I mean this is quite an indictment on their legacy actually, but I mean the most obvious Clash influenced band is probably Green Day, but that whole kind of Californian sound was very, they took a lot from the Clash as well. So like, they're
talking about Dead Kennedys.
Well, listen, I think they had a very great career.
Bit Trump that very great,
bigly, very great career.
Best.
They did a lot of incredible stuff, but a lot of their stuff, a lot of their actual tunes are fucking dreadful.
Yeah, but you can apply that to any band.
No. Listen,
is it like so?
Queen's got some absolute dross.
These cunts, right? So they do the Clash, and then they do Give 'Em Enough Rope, right? And then they do a double album, London Calling, right?
Yeah.
When they start doing fucking double albums, the band's just talking a load of shit now, right? So then, emboldened by the success of London Calling, critical and commercial success of London Calling, and let's be honest, I love London Calling, but there's a lot of shit on that album as well because it's too fucking long. Then they do an album called Sandinista, which is a triple album or a quadruple album. It's a 4-sided.
It's a lot of effort, isn't it?
I think it's 6 sides, maybe 6 sides. It's like there's a lot of shit on Sandinista, lots of stuff. Doesn't work as an album. Loads of different fucking nonsenses, and there's like 3 good tunes on it out of something like fucking 60, whatever.
Fuck me, that's a lot of work.
It is. So when you look at the maths, the vast majority of stuff the Clash did is fucking bollocks. And
it's not about that though, is it? It's about the songs that endure. That's the ones that you get remembered for.
Shut the fuck up, mate.
So I'm in a company where one of you don't like the Clash and one of you don't like Metallica. I need to get the fuck out of this room.
I fucking love Metallica, mate.
Yeah, you do. Jim doesn't.
I've got nothing against Metallica.
Personally. All right. Well,
actually, personally, I've got a lot against them. But I mean, as a band, I don't. I can take or leave them.
Did you found Napster? All right, listen, shut up. So now we're gonna do some questions actually because it's in no way appropriate lead-in. So Thomas Ife, if I got that wrong, just I don't know. I won't issue a correction or apology. Ask what's your favourite Western? And what do you think is the best Western? Well, best Western is obviously a hotel chain.
You've been thinking about that, haven't you, for hours?
That's why you picked that question, isn't
it? Dave, do the whistle. So Dave can whistle like a referee.
I'm available for corporate events or birthdays, bar mitzvahs.
So anytime now that anyone says anything stupid, Dave's gonna blow up for it. So what's your favourite Western then? Because remember in the kind of mid 2000s, there was a bit of a renaissance on the old Western. So you'd have the kind of post-Western in the 90s, which was Unforgiven. Then there was Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. But then in the 2000s, you had like Open Range.
Assassination of the Coward Jesse James. Oh, no. Assassination of Ford by the Coward Jesse
Exactly. I mean, you're still kind of right. Bad things do happen. But so is that your pick?
What, for my favourite Western?
Yeah.
No.
You're going to say Shane or The Searchers or some fucking
Shane's
shit.
good. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid would be my choice.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, Shane's really good. Yeah. I need to watch The Searchers again. I never really got on board with it. I know it's an important film, but...
Good ending, that.
Yeah.
Good ending. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think past.
My favourite Western is Gunmen of the Apocalypse, the Red Dwarf episode.
See, this is the problem. This is the problem. I'm starting to hate you.
My other favourite Western is Red Dead Redemption.
Fair play.
Fuck Westerns, mate. Have you seen Westworld? Such a load of shit.
I've not seen it, but...
Everyone's giving it fucking whack.
No, it's not shit. It's really good.
It's the greatest TV show of all... Fuck
It's
off.
definitely not the greatest TV show of all time, but it's very good.
Boring and it's dreadful.
Wrong.
No, you're wrong, right?
It's good.
It's
classic fucking sci-fi. Why do you not like it? I thought you'd love it.
Imagine Jurassic Park, except it's 400 hours long and there's no jokes.
I mean, Jurassic Park is bad to begin with, and that had jokes. Okay, you know what? I
need to leave this company. I'm available for hire.
Yeah, shut up. I'm going to have to pass on it's hard to look past Clint, obviously. Stuff
also, depending on the font you use to write it, it looks a bit like cunt. So.
Oh, yeah, of course. Especially if you're Mark Miller and running your own magazine or sale for children. I think, is it Hang 'em High? One that my mind always runs to that's not Unforgiven.
Don't know anything about Westerns. Back to the Future 3 was a good Western.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, God.
There's the one where Clint Eastwood is hanged and then comes back to the town. No, it's the one where
Doc Brown's back in the past.
Shut the fuck up. And then he comes back to town, and then there's some bandits or something, and they paint the town red and write hell everywhere, and it's meant to be like a suit, a bit like Pale Rider. In its themes, so yeah, I'm going to go for that one. Right,
I tell you what, there's a question last week about famous films that you haven't seen, which I didn't answer because I couldn't really think of any. But
because I've seen them all.
No, Dances with Wolves.
I mean,
I've seen Dances
I haven't
with Wolves.
seen. That's the famous film I haven't seen. That's also a Western.
Cracking film, cracking film.
So I'm going to watch that this week.
I'm wondering how it holds up.
It's well good. I don't think it holds up at all. I haven't seen it since the actual 90s. So
shit.
The 90s were great though, weren't they?
Yeah, all right.
They were a load of shit. Chris Wickstead asks, Hot Shots or Hot Shots Part 2? Now listen, I've got a story about Hot Shots Part 2. So, years ago,
I bet it's shit.
Years ago, I saw Hot Shots Part 2 in the kino because I watched it on a Forces base, and they were a bit lax on the old who's allowed to do what and where and whatever. But I think I'm not sure. Anyway, so I went in to watch it. And I vividly remembered this scene in the movie, and it was a played for laughs sex scene in the back of a limo. So do you remember in Hot Shots Part 2 when Topper goes to whatever function it is? I think it's just after Tug Benson makes the joke to the Japanese premiere about strafing their homes. And he meets the woman with the mole, the blonde woman CIA agent. Anyway, so after that, they get in the limo. And there is this scene, and the limo driver starts seeing what's going on, and then they put the what's it called? I don't know. The screen up. And then suddenly there's a whole thing where he's running along. The limo driver's running alongside the car, looking in the window, and all this, really, really fucking slapstick.
No. So
then it came out on DVD, and I bought it, and that scene was nowhere to be found. And I was like, but wait a minute, this is the home video. There's not an uncut version of Hot Shots Part 2,
Director's cut.
And yeah, it turns out that in the early DVD things, it was just excised for reasons unknown.
Oh,
but for a good year, I was like, did I imagine that scene? Did I make that? I mean, I was fairly young. Yeah. Did I imagine it? Like I imagined that time that all the walls of my house were on fire. That was bad. It was a long night. So what about you then, lads? Is it Hot Shots or Hot Shots Part 2?
I think it was Part 2 for me, but I haven't seen either of them for years. I mean, we should do a double bill of that.
I can't remember either of them enough to... I mean, I certainly more aware of Hot Shots Part 2 growing up, but...
I'd say the sequel, because the first one is, pretty much just a straight Top Gun rip.
What films have got sequels that are better than the originals? Godfather Part 2, arguably.
I'd say they're complementary.
Yeah, I would agree, but...
Hence why, did you see at Tribeca the other day when they had all the cast for, so it was the 45th anniversary, I believe, of The Godfather, and they had a screening of The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. So, what about the third one? France is like,
Which third one?
Shut the fuck up.
It's not a little bit like asking, like, what's your favourite era of Spin City, Michael J. Fox or Charlie Sheen? It's like, well, Michael J. Fox, isn't it? Obviously.
I think in terms, there are very few movies I feel where the sequel is even as good. But I'll say that there are very few movies, and you can probably count on one hand, where the third installment's better than both the previous ones, and that is Bourne. The Bourne Ultimatum is better than the previous two. I think by a long way. The ending's so fantastic, so well observed. It starts really with in Waterloo, and Constantine gets blown away. And then you have the great scenes towards the end in New York when he's talking to the guy.
You may well be right.
Yeah, it's really good.
Definitely better than the second one. I love the first one.
The second one has a really odd... It suffers from being the middle one, I think. Speaking of middle ones, The Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. I love Star Wars. I want to not sound like fucking Ash from Alien, but I love the purity of Star Wars. Like, it is just a Saturday matinee serial, you know, it is. But it's done so well. So I can understand why people might prefer that. The second one, though, Empire Strikes... Oh, my goodness. So good. So textured. Directed by the guy who directed the other masterpiece, RoboCop 2. So
RoboCop 2 starring you.
Yeah, mate. Rufus Hound asks, "Isn't that you as a child?" Well, listen. Craig Dullahan asks, "Why have people seemingly forgotten that Lost is/was fucking shite?" Now, we were at uni.
Who's forgotten?
Dave War, and I remember that became quite a big thing. They had that amazing advert over here in Britain, you know, where they're dancing on the... I'm not sure if that's what...
Yeah, what a load of shit.
Yeah, they're dancing
in
among
hindsight.
the wreckage.
Oh, what, the ad? Oh, no, the advert was fantastic for it, though. It pulled you in.
Yeah. And then I've not seen...
And then you watch the actual pilot and you're like, so when are they going to start dancing?
I've not seen a single episode of it, but...
The first few seasons are fantastic.
One of my housemates got really hooked on it. Really, really hooked on it. And then, you know, you'd be eating dinner or whatever in the pub, and he's talking with some other housemates and other fucking dickheads going, "Oh, and there's a polar bear, and there's this, that," and you're like, "Oh, it's one of those things where the idea of it, they had the idea blatantly and worked backwards. Now, that may be true for a lot of creative endeavours, that you see your end point, but they didn't see an end point. All they saw was they were on an island.
They saw the check is what they saw, because it could have been a really tight, like, 4-season thing, but because it got so popular, it was just like, we'll have another one.
Well, the whole thing was about it was seeding mystery, but having no resolution planned, and that was the issue. So that's why it is, as you say, Dave, it is really front loaded in terms of the first season's the best.
They find the hatch, right? So again, I guess
I think the second season's the best one, but
that
shut the fuck up, Dave.
You want to introduce mystery. Sorry, mate, yellow. That's when you see things that shouldn't be, like, that's the basis of a lot of like Monster of the Week stuff and X-Files, or we talk about episodes that span over series, even that the grey mystery of why is X in Y when it shouldn't be, like, why is there a hatch here? It seems like
that's fascinating.
Why is there a polar bear?
But then the resolution
is
the kind of thing.
And if it's just because it is, then congratulations, you've written a story when you're still at school, basically. And then Spider-Man turned up, great. I mean,
why?
When
just did.
When you're 8, that's amazing.
My favourite bit of Lost was in the first and second season previously ons, where they always used that bit where John Locke was like, "We're not the only people on this island, and we all know it." And like they used that, and it became so synonymous with previously. Like we were doing Game Wank at the time, and what we loved we did a lot of like sketches and stuff because we fancied ourselves as writing radio plays because we were a couple of fucking bellends, and we always used to start every kind of sketch, because it would usually be like a 4-part sketch in an episode of Game Wank that would tell a daft little story, and it was usually like tailored to, we did a Western when Red Dead Redemption came out, for example.
Oh yeah.
But it was you tried to make them contemporary, so we did a Western, but it was about a 2000s Glasgow cop finding himself back in time after getting battered. So like it was a parody of Life on Mars as well. But anyway, so but we always used to start them off with previously ons, fake ones, obviously, because that's a good joke, right? Doing a previously on when there haven't been any. Family Guy does that,
Yeah.
right? And that's obviously funny because
Arrested
Family Guy
Development
did
has
it.
basically previously on
Yeah,
this didn't
exactly.
occur in
Yeah.
any of the...
So so we thought we were hilarious, and we weren't. But but we always had a bit where one of us would say we're not the only people on this island, and we all that was the most culturally significant bit as far as I'm concerned.
Because I didn't know,
just that line.
having not seen Lost, that on the review that you did for Far Cry, the one that made you famous, that when the word cunt comes into focus,
Yeah, that's
the Lost. I've never seen it, so I just actually thought that it was just a really
bold move.
Just thought it was a really balls out way of opening a review.
Do you know that was a really, really clever joke on my part, that because
really?
Because Lost also has 4 letters.
Because
in
listen, because Far Cry 3 is set on an island, and so was Lost. So there we go.
That's just a meta joke as well as just being the word cunt coming up.
Oh my good lads. Okay. Andrew Fox 81 asks, what is your favourite James Cameron film?
Terminator.
Ooh, Titanic. All the T's. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that old Jimmy C, his latter work does not really stack up. In my eyes, I don't think Titanic is anywhere near as bad as it's made out to be.
People love criticising it, but it's not.
Titanic is, as we said before, it's just another one of his nuke movies, but the nuke is money and class and an iceberg. You know, that's just, the nuke is...
It's great symbolism for his sort of... for the quality of his films, isn't it? It's like, well, that's it. It's going under the water now. You'll never see this again. My favourite Jim Cameron movie is...
Oh, Jim, do you know him? Yeah? Is he coming over later?
Shut the fuck up.
Is he coming over?
No, I've just watched a lot of Terminator extras. My favourite...
Oh, so you're allowed to call him Jim now, are you?
Yeah, exactly. Because I've seen him called Jim Cameron by a cigar chomping Arnie Schwarzenegger that many times. No, my favourite James Cameron movie is Terminator 2.
You said True Lies initially.
Yeah, but I was
backtracked.
taking the piss.
True Lies is good though, isn't it?
True Lies is good. It's nobody's favourite Jim Cameron
True Lies
film,
is good.
Yeah, but someone's going to say Avatar, aren't they?
I wonder how
they
it
should be
stacks up now.
shot.
Somebody will say Avatar, but fuck them.
I mean, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
it's Terminator or Terminator 2, though, isn't it? Surely, realistically.
My fave is the Terminator.
Yeah.
Because it's
So
just...
I understand why that is, in many ways, the better film. But because Terminator 2 kind of came... when I was, I think I was 8 or 9.
I loved it. I fucking loved it when I was a kid.
It was such a moment culturally, that film coming out as well. I remember, like,
Still stands up as well.
It really stands up.
Because you know why?
It still
camera
looks
movement.
incredible. It's fucking
Can we talk about this
wonderful.
before? The reason T2's effect stands
probably
up
about 7 times.
because there's no camera movement in a lot of the effect shots. So basically, you don't have to worry about it motion tracking. It looked fucking dreadful.
Yeah, and isn't there only, like, in terms of actual effect shots, CGI, there's probably only, 30 seconds in the whole film? It's not like, there's not a lot of the
it's not CGI heavy
of the
at all.
morphing
and such.
Yeah, because it was used sparingly. It was used...
Well, didn't you have to use it a lot? Because just seeing it, like that, it was just such a thrill, I suppose. Just seeing something that, if you'd seen The Abyss, then maybe. But I think that all of James Cameron's movies have something interesting, at least to them. Like The Abyss was a bit of a wobble. I mean, he did Piranha 2 Flying Fish, but then he did The Terminator and Aliens. So that's a pretty fucking good start.
Yeah.
And then he did The Abyss, and it kind of just didn't, like the original endings.
I didn't really like The Abyss, but there's some incredible imagery in it. That tunnel that...
Yeah, and when was it Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio drowns and then comes back to life, and then it was always one of those movies that was on like Sky Movies Gold or whatever when I was a kid, that or Sky Premiere, that you'd see and you'd be more taken with it as an effects film than a proper picture, as it were. Whereas the Terminator married both those really well. Terminator 2 married it very well. Yeah, I just I don't know. I found it. I just think that the thing is, when I was much younger, I always used to prefer Terminator 2. My granddad, who's like, no, I don't like it. I don't. I think he said, oh, I don't like the Mercury Man, and I was like, classic granddad speak. But
That's a good name.
But yeah, but now I'm like, the actual I just prefer like the original Terminator is a fucking nightmare of a movie. It's horrible. Like that police station scene is so good because that is the place, especially the American police station, for goodness sake. That is the place where you should feel the safest of all. And that's really where all the gloves come off in the movie, because the Terminator is not a very good killing machine. Like, his brute force is just shite. Why couldn't it just have very quietly killed the man at the front desk and then walked in? Why did it have to drive a car through the front of the building, alerting everyone? And but because it looks fucking cool, doesn't it? Because then he can say, "I'll be back." Why does he say, "I'll be back"?
That was just a throwaway line, though, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah. And so, but from there on, when the lights go out as well, absolutely phenomenal, great scene, and that like the kind of like gut churning, the dream you have where someone's chasing you and you can't get away from them. That's the movie version of that is the Terminator. It's fucking brilliant. What about you, Dave?
What, T1 or T2? Or
T1?
Well, yeah, the
Was it
Terminator
was it
or
Heathrow?
Terminator 2.
You mean Trainspotting?
Oh, yeah. No, the Terminator for James Cameron films.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You're terminated, fucker. Well, payoff. See you later. Gavlar asks, states first that they thoroughly enjoyed Capturing the Freedmans and the 7.5. What are your favourite documentaries? So Dave and I sat down, because Jim wasn't there, because he was being lazy, or I don't know, working or something. We sat down and we were just looking through just Netflix for some upcoming stuff. And we started watching Queen of Versailles, and about the chap who was building the largest residence in America. He's the timeshare king. And then the financial crash happens, and suddenly it goes from a documentary that's about riches to more riches to riches to slightly less riches. But it's really interesting to see midway through how the kind of hubris changes. But so that's a good one if you've not seen it. Dave, thoughts?
God.
You like a good doco, don't you?
Yeah, I love a good doco.
There's a really good documentary about Resident Evil 7, actually, made by these guys at Special Productions for Capcom. You should check that out. It's really good.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite. The Fog of War, which you talked about before, is fantastic.
Yeah. Why We Fight, along the same vein.
What else? Man on Wire is, when they announced it, I thought, well, why are you doing that? That's like a news story, not a documentary. And then it's like a heist movie. As the guy tries to scale the Twin Towers and walk between them, and it's absolutely
and then they made the movie version
Yeah.
of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Why the fuck would you watch that version when you could just watch the real version without Joseph Gordon-Levitt with some real?
Yeah, I've never seen the feature film version, but the documentary's incredible. Jodorowsky's Dune is brilliant.
I've still seen it. I love that he's
fantastic.
like 85 years old. He looks incredible for 85. He looks fucking amazing.
And he's just a fascinating man, and the
mental.
artwork's fascinating, and the story's fascinating. Anvil, the story of Anvil, fucking brilliant. That metal band. The Imposter, which is, I don't want to talk anything about it because it's basically a story that if you wrote it as fiction, you'd be like, fuck off, mate, that is absolutely ridiculous. So definitely check that. I think it's on Netflix in a minute, but it is just unbelievable that it's a real story.
Okay. I agree with most of the picks. I definitely think that a lot of kind of Aaron Morris's work is absolutely phenomenal and needs to be checked out. I'm
watching a lot of documentaries about murder, loving it. Oh, actually, that's what I've been doing this week. I've been watching
Murdering?
Real Detective, which is interviews with detectives about kind of the one case that really fucked them. So having seen, countless, dead bodies and stuff, but the one case that really got in their head, and it's brilliant. So it's interviews with the people, the detectives after the fact, and then reconstructions of that as a drama. And I mean, I think pretty much every single one of them could be a feature film.
Really? Well, yes.
The favourite, I wouldn't call it my favourite documentary, but one of the best ones I've seen in the past few years is a documentary that came out in 2015 called Dark Horse. And I never expected for a second to be interested in it. It's about horse racing. It's like the subject matter just doesn't. I mean,
the sport of cunts.
I don't give a fuck about horse racing, right? But so we stuck it on last Christmas, and watching it with my very Welsh mother.
Do you mistake it for Seabiscuit?
So she'd heard about it, and she was like, "Oh, I want to watch this." Okay. So it's a story of Dream Alliance, the horse racing syndicate, in a small Welsh mining village where they got a little bit of money together and bred a racehorse and somehow managed to get it trained by one of the top trainers, and basically entered this very kind of
Rocky with horses,
very kind of working class horse into the proper fucking races that all the posh cunts do. So and it wasn't like a story about them kind of sticking it to anyone or anything. It was just like can we do this? Is it even possible to do this with so little resources, and so without being able to hire we don't have stables, we don't have loads of people looking after this thing round the clock, and it was owned by loads of people in the village.
It's a co-op horse.
Yeah, a co-op horse, yeah, essentially. But also it's a really great story about and it turned out that the horse actually had...
It was racist.
We regret to inform you that the horse is racist. No, it turns out that the horse did really well, but then it would have like a real kind of hit and miss thing, where some races it would just win really well, and other ones it would just like duck out and it's a story about finding out what the issue was. And
this
stuff.
horse is amazing. Is it going to be on Parky?
It was a wonderful little story, but crucially, it took place in Wales. So all the people who are interviewed in the documentary sound really funny.
So if you're not interested in the subject matter, you can just laugh.
Yeah, I mean, principally, it's a woman, a barmaid, and her husband that are sort of mostly featured. And our husband's they're all great characters, but our husband's a fucking brilliant character. He's just like really old Welsh guy without any teeth.
Have either of you seen Virunga?
No,
I haven't seen
sounds
that
like an
yet
X-Files
either.
episode.
No, it's because the guy used a lot of his footage is in it. It's just won basically what they call the Green Nobel Prize for stopping people poaching and being dickheads.
It's a bit for being a good lad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, if we're going to do documentaries, here are two at the opposite end of the spectrum. Beyond the Mat.
Very good.
Resting with Shadows as well. And obviously, The World at War. Now, I know I go on about The World at War a lot. I'm serious. Yeah. The World at War is the most important film ever made.
Yeah,
absolutely. It is by a mile the most important.
Looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah, well, we're going to be in the sequel, mate.
Yeah, we're going to be making the fucking sequel.
Special Come Present.
Present.
Laurence Olivier back from the...
one of the greatest documentaries ever made is the making of Resident Evil 7, which you can watch on...
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's only just slightly outclassed by The World at War. Yeah, but I think...
But just as powerful, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of very similar themes.
Particularly the editing.
Yeah, and a lot of the subtitle work, which was done to the same specification. But yeah, The World of War is amazing.
Have you seen Night and Fog? The Holocaust one? I think we might have watched it as a
fucking documentary.
We watched it as a... Yeah, it's the short film.
No, I've not.
It's the most harrowing thing you'll ever watch. So
yeah, so who was it saying that they'd watched Night Will Fall? They've been shown it.
Oh no, I've not seen Night Will Fall. No.
Oh, is that? And they were like, never again.
The BFI recently launched a tool where you can put in. It's got a map of Britain, and you can put in your postcode, and it will tell you any films that have scenes shot in them in or near that postcode in their library.
Oh, really?
So you can find archive footage that was shot where you are. For example, I put in my postcode around here. I live just down the road from Dave, and it came up with a film about, and it was back in the 50s or something, about a film about the mosque opening that's sort of between my house and yours. So it's really interesting to kind of see the place, what it looked like back then and stuff. But There was a great kind of documentary I found, because I put in like every postcode I've ever lived in, and one of them came up with a film made, I think it was in the 40s in Edinburgh, and it was just about like, it was a semi-fictionalized film about just people who fucking lived in Edinburgh and did stuff.
Oh, no, that sounds...
Your favourite city.
Wearing red trousers
drove trains and that. It was really interesting. It was like
shut up.
20 minutes.
And what's that? That's the BFI website.
It's a BFI website, yeah. It was a BFI thing. I'm not sure what the URL
because
is.
People in the good town of St Neots always used to claim that, so by St Neots, there is a, just literally outside the border of it, is a power station.
Yeah,
and it's different to the one that was there before. And people always used to claim that some of Batman was shot, some of the interiors for Axis Chemicals was shot inside there. I know, and then that morphed into, and then apparently Jack Nicholson went to this pub. And were like, did Jack Nicholson go to the Cambridge Hunter? Did he? Well, now I can find out.
It would have been shot north of London. Those studios there, the air hangers, so maybe.
Shit, there you go. I'm going to find out now.
I mean, that sounds like when people in Hartlepool claim that Ridley Scott shot fucking Blade Runner in...
It does look like Blade Runner, though, doesn't it?
I mean, it's like he was inspired by the industrial wastes of Hartlepool.
Was it SCI?
Because it looks like a shithole, but, you know, it's like, you didn't actually shoot it there. I love that stuff
like that, and like Port Talbot, Runcorn, that, like, pure
Runcorn was a
Bailey? I mean, it's ugly, but...
Remember when we drove past Port Talbot and we were just like, fuck me, it's Blade Runner.
Do you remember when we made the best Resident Evil movie that's ever been made, live action interpretation of Resident Evil 7's themes and rooms and scenes, and we shot it literally in Wales?
I mean, it is better than the films, but the bar's not that high, to be honest.
You know, a story about a rural hellhole where the locals had gone mad and started eating each other. It's like, oh, we better go to Wales then, lads.
I mean, we were literally next door, as in attached, but to a fucking funeral home.
Yeah. So... a funeral home that was also abandoned.
I mean, there you go.
Shit.
Well, speaking of
Pissland's foot, innit?
Speaking of getting the fuck out of places, we are going to make a move because you gentlemen, not me, you gentlemen are off to a screening tonight, aren't you?
Yeah. Good old Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, you're going to do that and some special place.
There's one question we haven't done though.
Oh, is it the Aztec camera one?
Using the Aztec camera.
Using the Aztec camera.
Oh, is it the Seinfeld one?
What I wanted to do was talk at length about that time Aztec camera done a song with Mick Jones out the Clash.
Okay, let's not do that
though. That'll be a podcast extra if you press the red button.
Exactly.
Right, what is it? Right, who was the best Batman? Quick fire. Kevin Conroy.
Keaton.
Shut the fuck up.
Michael Keaton is the best Batman because he's exactly what Batman would be like. He's
Will Arnett.
Oh, no. I do like him though. He
is good. He is good, to be fair. What the fuck is an Aztec camera? There's a lot of Aztec camera shit. Right, okay, so David asks, is Burns really like that?
Oh, right, yeah.
Or is he playing an exaggeration of himself, like the cast of This Is the End?
Oh, yeah, we alluded to this earlier, then I forgot about it. Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Why don't you answer it?
Why don't I answer?
Why don't you answer, and then I'll provide my testimony on the matter. And then Dave can, because Dave's known me for...
Dave's known you longer than anyone.
For nearly 15 years now.
He's a prick.
There you go.
So
I agree.
Motion passed.
So whether or not Burns is like Burns the man, is like Burns a persona... for the most part, yes, but that's only because you don't let the persona slip very easily.
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, that's a shocking indictment, firstly.
But I actually often tell people you're actually, when you actually know you're a very nice man. But I don't like to tell too many people that because it kind of dilutes the brand a little bit.
It's just like wrestling, isn't it? Like, you know, you gotta play up the strengths.
Burns is sat here in spandex at the minute.
Yeah, exactly.
With an eye patch.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that has happened a few times. But then I suppose when, you know, if people only knew you from certain things that you'd done before. I mean, look, sometimes I can be a right tosser. Like, that's pretty simple, isn't it? You know, but sometimes I do like to, you know, be thoughtful and kind.
And from talking to Dave, who obviously knew you when you were actually young, I get the impression that sort of the character...
Well, were you suggesting, though, that we aren't young?
No, the dickhead Burns persona is largely a sort of semi-fictionalized version of what you were actually like when you first met Dave.
Yeah. I mean, I think Royal Holloway was a long time ago now, but it was. You have to remember that we were living in fucking a cell block, basically, and we were living next door to people with names like Ashley and
Hugo, right?
And Hugo, Lawrence, and
fuck me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm a very nice man usually, apart from all the terrible trouble I find myself into. But but basically, I don't give a fuck. So fuck you all.
We've also got one here with someone that can't find it. Jim Trinker discuss. So
well, everything you said about me.
Yeah, just replace the word.
Let me tell you. But before we go, let me tell you about Jim Trinker. Is that obviously there's a lot to be done today. There are screenings. There are various documents. There are vitally important documents that need to be signed. There are podcasts to do. There are strategy discussions to have. There's towns to be getting into to go to the screenings.
I know where this is going.
And so, as you may know, I live in suburban Croydon, right on the edge of Kent. Deliveroo don't deliver there. McDonald's are now doing a delivery service. I'm terrified that they won't deliver there either. So I have to get a bus.
I'm terrified for your health that they will.
Yeah. So to get here to where we're recording this, I have to get on a bus, then a tram, then an underground train, and then do a little bit of a walk. So it takes about an hour. If the traffic's bad, it can take up to an hour and a half. Jim Trinker lives 7 minutes walk away. He's literally
Place your bets now.
It's 2 rights and a left. And he's still an hour later than me this morning. Okay, so there you go. That's
I had stuff to do.
You got to sign the forms.
Mate, Zelda's not going to play itself.
But anyway, listen. On that note, Dave's actually a really nice guy. Nothing bad to say about him, apart from all those things I say about him.
He's the only genuine voice on this podcast.
Exactly. And he's from the north, mate, which is fucking, a problem.
The best ones are, aren't they?
Salt of the earth.
Fucking salted the earth. Anyway, listen, we have to go because things need to be done. But thank you for listening. Get us on Jim Burns Dave on everything, and then let's hang out and play Nintendo. Yeah, because it's good now.
Also, drop a review, drop a 5-star review.
Put 5-star on it, or I'll fucking batter you.
Yeah, if it's not a 5-star review, we'll be well fucking annoyed.
Exactly.
Jim will come after you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.